Hi everyone, and happy 5th day of Inkvent. I'm so excited to be in the Inkvent calendar now. Been looking forward to it for a really long time. Only one day has been spoiled thus far, the 3rd day, and I really hope none of the other future days are spoiled. Just, pretty much stay off of social media if you don't want it spoiled, because some people are just so trigger happy they post it without thinking about, oh, some people aren't in the same time zone as I am, or maybe some people, they want to do it after they get home from working or going to school all day. They're not doing it, at like 8 o'clock in the morning like I am. So just like basically, PSA, be considerate of other people and, spoiler tags and like such like that. But anyway, number 5 is over here. I looked at a last year's Inkvent calendar, the black edition, which was the first Inkvent I had ever done. And apparently, or at least for these 2 years, maybe the other years are the same. The numbers are all in the exact same position. They just change up the color of the calendar. So let's open up door number 5. I can feel the bottles in the way. That's going to be a tough one to open. Let's pull out that tab. This one is really tricky. I don't know why the bottle is shifted towards the tab. Pull it out. It's gently giving away. That looks like, does it say Marie Rose? This is a very golden ink. Yeah, this looks like it definitely says Marie Rose. That might be a British reference, because apparently yesterday's ink, Smoky Tobacco. I had no idea. It's a very common, popular, nostalgic Christmas association in the UK. So, who knew? And this is, oh, it's a standard ink. I was going to think, oh, gold, that's definitely a shimmer ink for sure, like last year's Salted Caramel. And I will definitely be comparing this to my swatch card for Salted Caramel to see how they compare, obviously minus the shimmer. So I'll open it and see you guys over when I set up my overhead tripod shot. That's coming out very light at first stroke. Yeah, it's definitely not a mislabeled shimmer ink, but this is extremely light. I thought it was going to be much more of a vibrant gold, like Salted Caramel and Nutmeg from last year. This doesn't even look, I don't know how to describe the color quite, like very light brown. Maybe it's one of those inks that goes on light but dries up much darker. But yet this is definitely, like, so far what I'm seeing, not the kind, I don't think I would want to put this in a pen, maybe in a really super broad nibber to paint with. And again, I'll have to look up what exactly, or who exactly Marie Rose is. That must be some kind of British reference, like some of their other Inkvent names. Looks maybe like a little bit of a peachy tone when it's starting to dry up. But yeah, this looks absolutely nothing like Salted Caramel. I'll have to pull up I have it right next to me, but I'll have to just check in the overhead shot to make sure everything is in frame. That's one of the things about not having a secondary monitor to check. I just don't know what exactly is in my monitor at any given time. Like, oh no, I accidentally leaned into the frame and everyone saw my hair. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Or just, oh, I accidentally pulled it too far out of the frame. Yeah, this, I don't even know how to describe what kind of color or theme they were going for. It's like a very strange combination. I guess A+ for creativity, but I really can't see myself wanting to write with this unless, of course, it comes out much differently in the swatch card. Just paint the excess off. Is that even still in frame in the top? Just move that down a little bit. Whatever, just you'll see it all when I pull in closer. That definitely is going down light as well on this paper. I don't know if this is, maybe it's a drier ink by design, or they just meant it to be a really light color, maybe more like mixed with other inks, or as a, I don't know, highlighter wouldn't really be the word for this, but just not really something you use for your main writing source. This is like very different and very interesting. Marie Rose. That I am definitely going to have to Google that. That is like a really strange name for an ink to me. Marie Rose. Yep, it's coming out light. I mean, it's in the place where I put down the most ink, of course, it's pretty dark on the swatch, but this is definitely, you know, a very light ink. I prefer more like darker / medium saturated inks. Definitely not one I could personally, you know, see myself like voluntarily like reaching for. Diamine Inkvent. Yeah, no worries about this coming out too thickly on the dip pen at first swatch. Diamine Inkvent 2025. So hard to maneuver writing with a dip pen. You have to like hold the card down as well so it doesn't, you know, get all out of frame or go flying across the notebook. Yeah, there's plenty of room to write 2025 and day 2. I mean, it's day 5, 2025 day. I'm used to squeezing my writing into small spaces. I barely put any space between my words. I've explained the reasoning for that in some previous videos. So, yep, it's, I don't know, like this, did they intend it as tan, a very, very light orangey yellow, a yellowish brown, a brownish orange, like a goldy yellow, or this is definitely not my style at all. I would definitely not have bought an ink like this. It doesn't really look nearly as much like salted caramel as I had thought. I'll like try to zoom in and get a closer look of that. Well, wouldn't you know it, I forgot to press record yet again while I was comparing this against my swatch cards. Like one of these days I will get it, you know, 100% right and stop looking like so amateurish, like a stooge on camera. So on closer comparison, like salted caramel definitely doesn't look anything like it. It has this warm, inviting, beautiful, like brownish gold shimmer, particularly in broader nibs, and when it goes down and it dries up, you can just really appreciate that beautiful golden brown effect. And this looks kind of, you know, flat in comparison. This is like some of the, well, I usually have to put down multiple layers when, like 2 or 3 when I'm writing with the salted caramel. I don't know if it just clogs feeds like crazy or I'm not using the right pens, but this is what it looks like in writing, and definitely nothing like this. Much like browner, like in the golden color. This looks kind of almost, you know, flat in comparison. And my Greek letters are still kind of a work in progress, particularly the lowercase gamma. I haven't really been writing that properly, as I've come to discover. The little loop at the bottom, I was like not realizing I need to put that. But anyway, nutmeg. This was also from last year's Inkvent, again with a lovely golden sheen. I have not yet put this in a pen, but people who have say it's kind of a dry ink. But again, like nothing like this at all. Like from the label, it looks like, you know, it's going to be kind of like a gold. You don't want to tip it over too much, but definitely nothing like the actual like goldy shimmers from last year. And I was thinking also maybe wilted rose from last year, but like nothing. Wilted rose is more of like a brown, not a brownish, like a pinky light red undertone. Nothing like this at all. And I really did like wilted rose. I will put it in a pen eventually. And I thought, oh, maybe Purgatorio from Wearingill looks similar, but no, this still has more of like a pinky light reddish brown undertone. Nothing like this. So this is definitely completely unique to anything which I have in my current ink arsenal. I can't see myself like, you know, voluntarily buying a full bottle of this, but I will do a short writing sample of it with a dip pen and get back to you guys. The somewhat longer writing sample did absolutely nothing to make me like this ink anymore. It came out so dry on the dip pen, and usually dip pens, I mean, of course, you can't expect them to hold the ink nearly as long as an actual fountain pen, but usually it's longer than this. I was constantly having to redip it, so finally I just dipped it into my the new Euphoria Earl Grey. And of course, I'm not going to like fill this up. This was only for dip writing, like wash this out afterwards and to fill up the space because it was such an unpleasant writing experience. So dry. I kept having to go over most of the letters multiple times. I just painted a couple of shapes and did kind of that like Rorschach thing, like pressing the plastic against a few little droplets of ink. And that was the only thing that made it bleed through a little bit onto the second page, not the actual writing. It was so dry and so light. This is, of the 5 inks thus far, this is definitely at my bottom. And unless there's like future surprises I don't like very much either, I think this would probably finish in my bottom, like definitely in the bottom 3. Like there might be a couple more duds or things that aren't really my style at all, but definitely this, I can't see myself buying this ink at all. Hopefully tomorrow's ink will make up for it. I mean, I know they like to, they appeal to, I guess, like they're many types of people, like many types of ink, so they're not only gearing it towards, oh, these people like the shimmer ink, so let's do all shimmers, or, oh, these people like bright, happy, festive colors like bright green and red and purples at the holiday season, and putting in earth tones and neutrals is great. But this, compared to yesterday's smoky tobacco, that's a beautiful, lovely brown. I could see myself getting a whole bottle. This is just way too light. I can't say enough about how, disappointed I am. It was not a pleasure to write at all. It was like a chore, so light, and I could kind of even feel it digging into the papers. Just wow, not my style of ink at all. So thanks for watching all the way through, and hopefully tomorrow will be much better. So see you again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.